Hello and welcome to another video. This is going to be my first official tip video. And a lot of my other cards videos have been mostly how to make a particular card design, but I thought in this video I would show you just how to make your ink pads essentially juicy again if they are kind of dry. So let me show you how to do that. So I have two different types. If you have the old style ink pad and a re-inker, and if you have the current style and re-inker, there's a little bit of difference in that this one lacks a sort of anti-foaming like bubbling up solution in there. I haven't found that that's much of an issue with mine, occasionally, but not really a big deal for me. Whereas this one does have that anti-bubbling up compound in the actual ink. So just a heads up that if you have the new ink pad but the old re-inker, you don't want to do this. You could always do new with old if you wanted to. Just know that that particular feature may not be as prevalent as a result. So I have a stamp here from the new Enjoy the Moment stamp set. I kind of liked it because it has a little bit of sort of detail up here and kind of a more solid piece on the bottom. So I thought this one would be good to see how dry and not well it's going to stamp, and then it'll hopefully show a big change once that actually is re-inked correctly. So let me go ahead and start. I'll have my my Stampin' Chamois nearby just to have me be able to help. So the only things you really need, I use an old gift card. You can use an old gift card, you can use the back of like a plastic spoon, you can, as you can tell, I have also at one point used my bone folder, but that does stay no matter how well you try to clean it, so I've tried to not use it since. I had an old plastic one that sometimes I use this one instead. This was before I got my quality one from Stampin' Up. So just a heads up there that that is a thing. So first, this is running its course here, so I figured, oh, well, what a perfect video to actually stamp this one. So I'm going to do on this side, I'm going to do the before it is re-inked, and then on this side of this line here, we'll do the after it's been re-inked. So you'll see here, the way I knew that this one needed to be re-inked is because earlier I was prepping a card video to show you guys in like a demo on how to make it, and then I realized, I was like, why is that so pale? Because normally it's soft suede is not really pale, certainly not this much. Let's make sure, I don't want to get too much in my green here. And then my shaded spruce I used a lot for my holiday cards. So this one, you can tell is, well, here's one thing that you can definitely tell. See how here it's kind of light, but it's a little bit darker on some of these spots. And that's just because it's, the ink is not evenly picked up when you are getting your stamps done, right? So when you stamp with, say, a Christmas tree shape, you know, if say you have a tree shape, well, this part will start losing more ink than this part over here. So that's something to account for. So let me close this up for a little bit. Let's show you how to do this. So let's do my soft suede first. So all you need to do to get your re-inker, and I do recommend you get these if you don't already have them, certainly at least for the colors you use a lot, because there's really nothing worse than like getting into a project, say you're, you know, mass producing a bunch of cards for like a gift set, and then you find that it needs to be re-inked and you don't have the re-inker. Plus, I've actually shown you guys a technique before on how to use, it's called the baby wipe technique, where you can use this. There are lots of techniques that you can use with re-inkers. Maybe I'll make another video where I'll show you how to do something else that's really neat with this. But all you do, and it depends also on how empty it is. Mine is pretty empty. You don't want to really put too much, but essentially, I kind of put it all over. There we go. So just a fair number of dots. Notice they're not like ridiculously huge either. So then I take my card and I just brush it in. Turn, brush it in, turn, brush it in, turn, and just kind of, essentially I'm just pushing it in so as to make sure that it's kind of evenly spread out. So notice that it's picking up some here. If I'll try to remember to do that with that one first. You'll see that there would have been very little left on my card after I brushed past it here. Let me use a tissue to wipe that up so that I can reuse it without having to wash it under the sink there. But let's go ahead. That one's done. Let me move that off to the side. This one's the exact same. You're doing the same process. And this one I know is very dry in the middle, so I'm going to try to focus a little bit of my attention more there. And notice that one blends in really well, but that does mean, actually, another one right there. What that does mean though is that I'll actually have to push a little bit harder on here to make sure I'm actually moving the ink. On the other one, it was a little bit more superficial. So here we go. Here we go. There we go. So now, and you can't see it very well from your angle, but like where I was looking at it, you could definitely see that there was a clearer spot in the middle, and now it's much more even. So same thing, just gonna wipe it down. I usually take this to the sink afterwards since it's water-based ink, just so I don't contaminate any other colors later. So let's go ahead and test it out. Again, I'm just tapping. Notice it's much darker. And the neat thing too is that even if, oh, see, look, I did not do, oh, see, so here's the best thing about testing it right after. Notice it's re-inked, but I didn't do a great job of spreading it around. So I can just go back in and just do it over again. And it might also be that it was just that dry. I might need to put more drops on this one. I use shaded spruce a lot, especially in the holidays. It's such a rich green. All right, so let's try that one. Yeah, okay, so here's what happened. So now notice it's much more even, but because I had to push down to get the color even again, that meant that I essentially pushed the ink to the bottom. So what happens is when I fold it and close it up, eventually gravity will take hold and the ink will come back to the surface. So even though, like, you can tell that I have enough ink because of this one, and now with this one you can tell that I have distributed it correctly. So I won't try to mess with it again, but let's see if I can be, let's see if my soft suede gives me a little less trouble. So there's that. Let's clean that off because that would have been really sad. And that is also some other reason why you may want to re-ink. Say, for example, you were working in your, soft suede, and then you were also using your shaded spruce and you accidentally soft suede into your shaded spruce. Well, you can definitely do a few things to try to get that ink color out of there. One of the things I recommend, and you want to try to focus it exactly, but like say you had it right here in this corner, you would want to take like a paper towel and try to blot out as much of the brown as possible, because eventually if you re-ink that spot, even if the rest of it is correct and fine, if you don't get a good job of taking out whatever the incorrect color is, it's going to leave behind some problems. All right, let's see if I did a better job with this one. Oh yeah, that looks better. And there we go. So that is how you re-ink your stamping ink pads. So notice here, when I saw that one, I was like, that is not soft suede. That is much too light. And you can tell, because see how that's about the same. This is essentially it stamped off, was how dark it was, which makes sense because this was a color I used a little bit more this holiday season as well to make cards. So that being said, that's how you do it. It's not particularly difficult, and you might even be able to tell, like, I've barely used any of this. So this will actually last you a really long time, and they're not very expensive, so I do recommend that, especially if there are certain colors you're going to use a lot, that you do get the re-inkers for them, because they are incredibly useful for all kinds of things, including techniques. So If you've got any questions or you want to get your hands on any of these reinkers, make sure to get in touch. I will have a link to my online store if you need to add some to your growing supplies. And if you have any questions, let me know. I will try to be making more of these tip videos a little bit more frequently. But for now, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.